Hello, my name is Benjamin Laterio, and this is my final project for EGR150 Intro to Engineering. My instructor is Dr. Hans Chapman, and the course is taught at Cape Fear Community College for the fall semester of 2022. The engineering concept I am showcasing in my video is gear ratios. A gear ratio is defined as the ratio of speed of the output shaft of a device to the speed of the input shaft. I have chosen a mountain bike to demonstrate gear ratios, and in this case, the input shaft is this sprocket here, connected to the pedals, and the output shaft is this one in the rear, connected to the wheel. On gear sets, the gear with more teeth will turn slower than the gear with fewer teeth. So the gear ratio can also be expressed as a ratio of the number of teeth on the output shaft to the number of teeth on the input shaft. On this picture, the front sprocket is the input gear, and it is a single gear that has 30 teeth. The output gear is actually a set of 12 gears stacked on top of each other, known as a cassette, that ranges from 10 teeth at the smallest gear all the way up to 52 teeth in the largest gear. For example, if the chain is on the smallest gear on the cassette, the gear ratio is 10 to 30, or if you reduce that, it's 1 to 3, meaning that the rear wheel spins 3 times for every 1 revolution made on the pedals. Using a device connected to the rear axle called a derailleur, we can change which gear the chain is on and thus changing the gear ratio. The derailleur is controlled by a set of levers on the handlebars, so you can change the gear ratio while you are riding the bike to give you an advantage over many types of terrain. As you can see that there are 2 levers on the controls, and the bigger one shifts into a larger gear, so it moves the chain upwards on the cassette, and the smaller one shifts into a smaller gear, moving the chain backwards on the cassette. In the gear ratios, where the output gear has more teeth than the input gear, for example a 3 to 1 ratio, if you were on the largest gear on the cassette, the torque would increase. Vice versa, when the output gear has fewer teeth than the input gear, if you're on the smallest chain on the cassette, then the torque decreases, but you are able to travel at a greater speed. In conclusion, gear ratios are a ratio of the number of teeth on the output gear to the teeth on the input gear. Mountain bikes have a wide variety of gears that you can choose from that change how much torque and how fast you can go, that give advantages over the varying terrain that you would have to travel on a mountain bike trail. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you learned something.